Hello everyone, McLenden2 here with a new video. It's different once again. Now for those wondering, back in the days I did a top 5 Thomas episodes video. But now times have changed and, well, I just can't stand it! Also, a lot of other YouTube people have spoken about their top 20 episodes. And, well, I've decided to talk about my top 20 episodes. Now, this is my own personal list, and it's my opinion. I do respect your favourite episodes and reasons, so yeah. So, grab a can of Pepsi or Coke, and some food like popcorn, chocolate or crisps, and let's begin! Number 20. Troublesome Trucks. Yeah, this is a generic story, but there are some reasons why I like it. For starters, there are not episodes where James shows determination by just being really useful. And also, his theme tune in this episode makes it a lot more exclusive. So yeah, it's a fun episode and I always enjoy watching it. That's all I can say about it. Number 19. Thomas the Jet Engine. Wow, this episode was quite the, well, episode. People have also complained about this episode for just being unrealistic. But hey, it was an experimental episode, and it was also the most popular episode from season 6. Hello! Also, this episode was quite funny. They put a lot of funny moments in this episode.
Race Thomas beat Bertie? Never mind.
Just so funny. I also can't mention how amazing the music was. Mike and Junior, praise to the both of yous. It's amazing that although season 6 had started showing some not so great episodes, a lot of them were very fun and entertaining, and Thomas the Jet Engine is the best example. It's a wild ride filled with action and humour. Number 18. Thomas and Gordon. I have a soft spot for this episode, mainly because it was the very first episode of the television series of Thomas the Tank Engine. We are introduced to the one himself, Thomas, and of course a very popular character, Gordon. So all Gordon fans will be pleased that Gordon was in the very first episode. It also started the amazing to good to falling down to failed to improvement of the show. I'm sure whoever is a massive fan of Thomas will remember the very first episode of Thomas the Tank Engine that starred Thomas and Gordon. Number 17. Duncan the Humbug. Yes, a CGI episode is on this list. Although people may think Last Train for Christmas was the best Christmas episode of Thomas, I personally think Duncan the Humbug was better. And if you don't agree with me, that's fine. But here's why I like it. For starters, they used actual quotes from the Charles Dickens novel, A Christmas Carol. It was later reused in season 19, but this episode was the first. I also can't mention how amazing the music was in this episode. If I had to pick the best episode that Robert and Peter composed music for, this would be the one. I mean, heck, they used actual Christmas songs and carols, for example, Stars of Wonder. The animation in this makes it look oh so Christmassy. I love this shot. It looks like something out of a painting. And also the Scarlet Railway doesn't really have any Christmas episodes dedicated to them. So Duncan the Humbug makes it a lot more exclusive. Number 16. Edward, Trevor and the Really Useful Party. A lot of people haven't really considered this episode as one of their favourites, so why have I? Number 1. Although the show is mainly about trains with faces, it's nice that there was an episode of the classic series that mainly took place on the road, and way before the pack were characters. And 2. How I saw this episode when I was younger. I hadn't seen the episode, but I did know it was an episode because I had a book of it called Edward and the Party. and I would remember the part when Bertie got stuck. Years later at a friend's house, this episode was played, but I didn't really watch it. But once I had gotten the biggest party video ever VHS, I could watch the episode whenever it was playing. And looking at it now more older, I say it is a great story and it feels so unique to me when I was younger that it deserves a spot on my top 20. Number 15. Henry's Forest. Now I know Wilbur Awdry had a disdain for this episode, and I respect his thoughts, but why I like it is because it's a heartwarming episode. We see a new side of Henry as he loves nature, and once it's being destroyed after the storm, you can't help but feel like crying for him, because the forest just means so much to him, and the music just adds to it how it feels. Henry's sad theme in season 3 just makes me feel sad, and when I'm sad sometimes, I play this theme because of just how sad it is. As for the ending, this is one of the most beautiful endings ever in a Thomas episode. Just with the scenery and music and the dialogue from the narrator just makes it work so well. So with that, Henry's Forest, in my opinion, is the sweetest episode of Thomas the Tank Engine. Number 14. Stepney Gets Lost. Oh my god, this is the darkest episode of Thomas. I mean, good god, a character almost dies in front of us. I also like to mention that this episode has a pattern of a theme related to it. It starts from happy, to spooky, to dark, and back to happy. Do I even need to talk about how ghostly the sets were at night? It's pretty obvious what we think of it. Also, for Ari and Bert's first appearance in an episode, god, they would make a child wet themselves. So with that, Stepney Gets Lost is a very dark episode, which I feel like deserves a spot on my top 20. Number 13. Old Iron. Edward and James having an episode together is quite common now, but the one that beats them all is no other than Old Iron. Now the story is pretty basic. Edward proves himself really useful to James after saving him from being a runaway. But I love the runaway, and not only that, we see the planning to stop the runaway, which we don't really see in a lot of Thomas episodes. Not to mention with the rescue, just how action-packed it was. The shots, the music, the narrator saying what was going on. My god, amazing! So with that, I say Old Iron is a really fun episode, full of action. Number 12. Grandpuff and Sleeping Beauty. These two are our common fan favourite, and rightfully so. And yeah, I know I'm cheating, but this is a two-part episode. The best two-part episode out of Thomas history in my opinion. It starts off an amazing season with the beautiful scenic sets of the Skarloey Railway, or the bit Solo Railway, even though some of the sets are actually part of the Skarloey Railway. And what other engines to start us off than Stuart, Falcon, and of course Duke. I also want to mention how heartbreaking it is. These three engines have worked together for years, and the line is closing down, and Stuart and Falcon get separated from Duke, leaving him on his own. And then here is the saddest moment ever of Thomas the Tank Engine, as Duke is being left fully on his own. And I just admire his optimism here. Although he's heartbroken, he hasn't lost all his hope, and just to pass the time, he just goes to sleep. Wow, Duke, you inspire me. Then we get to the rescue mission to find him, and I found a plot hole here. How did the visitors know about Duke, and why did they want to find him? Did Stuart and Falcon tell some random people about Duke? I have no clue, but still, they do the rescue mission and it's fun, and they succeed, and Duke is found, and then we have a funny reunion of the three, and it's like nothing ever happened. When I think about these two episodes, I just feel having them in 12th place and not in my top 5 or 10 is just an insult to them. But other than that, If you watch Grandpuff, then watch Sleeping Beauty. This is a two-part episode that has so much emotion and determination that it deserves a spot in my top 20. Number 11. Rusty and the Boulder. Rusty and the Boulder is a controversial episode. People say this is amazing, but people say it's not realistic. I say, who cares? When the Thomas era was bad, at the time, this episode was my favourite episode, so I feel it deserves a spot on my list. There's only one way I can describe this episode, and that is mystery. We are left with unanswerable questions, like how did the shed cause fire? Was Thumper the reason why Boulder fell off the cliff? Where he had been, standing for so many years? It just leaves us thinking. Also, only we, the audience watching, only know that the Boulder has a face. Not Rusty's driver, not the workman, not Thumper, not Rusty. Plus, if I was to have an interview with Britt Allcroft about her work in Thomas, I would ask her about Rusty and the Boulder. Like, what made you come up for the story? Did you and David Mitton watch the Boulder scene from Indiana Jones? I'm very intrigued. This episode is the last one that I consider part of the golden era of Thomas and Friends, and boy was it full of mystery. Number 10. Ghost Train. Yet another fan favourite episode, which I also love as well. Although Season 5 is best known for having spooky stories, this one is the first one we ever had. Now when I was younger, I wasn't aware that this episode existed, but it was shown on the complete Season 2 VHS, which I owned when I was younger, but only saw it up to dirty work, as the VHS was 2 tapes in one. I remember seeing this episode once, but just didn't really take much notice on it. But I did take notice of it when I saw it on YouTube. I saw it on the YouTube channel Train Lover 476. And also, this was one of the very first videos that I watched that was related to Thomas. But the remake was George Carlin and not Ringo. Next up, I have a very fond memory of this one. I was like 8 or something. I remember having a nightmare about the very start of this episode in 2 nights. Dang! That shows that the start of this episode sends shivers down your spine. With the music, how dark it is, and well, the ghost train just running by. Just makes it as it was a non-Thomas episode. And while on the topic of sets, they really made those trees look haunting, and all the fog is just icing on the cake. Just look at Tipperfield, it's just so spooky. That will make people tremble. Also, I wonder if the team went through trial and error to make Ghost Train perfect, and boy did they pass with flying colours. Thomas today tries their best to make spooky stories, but they just can't beat the models. The dark lighting, the haunting music, the fog and set make it work so well. To me, Ghost Train is the spookiest episode ever of Thomas the Tank Engine. The Flying Kipper. Yeah, you lot might have or not saw this coming. This is a very popular episode that everyone loves, and I do as well. This is also the last time we see Henry in his old shape, and the first episode to show him in his new shape, and that's how everyone will know what Henry looks like today. Now, how can I not mention about the atmosphere? It's just exclusive to this episode, and the episode only. The dawn lighting against the snow looks oh so beautiful, and the music here is a masterpiece. They just didn't go with Henry's normal theme, they just went and made it something that is only in this episode. So there's not much more I can say about this episode, other than it's an episode with beautiful set and a great storyline. Number 8. Passengers and Polish. Yeah, this story is pretty basic, and although we see Duncan's personality and home at last and rock and roll, we get to see something new about him in this episode. Jealousy. Character development. Duncan feels overlooked and complains about having so much work. I remember this episode when I was younger, and it was only seen on a VHS tape, and I think it was the last episode played on it, I'm not sure. The part of Duncan just stopping on the viaduct just stuck with me since then. Years later, I ended up getting the story library book of Duncan, and the story came back to me. And then I remember seeing this episode on an old TV program called Nick Jr. Classics. Thomas was on it, and they always played 2 episodes together. Steamroller was played before I saw this episode, so it was a nice conclusion. So with that, Passengers and Polish is an episode that I have fond memories, and I still like it to this day. Number 7. Bulldog. Unlike other episodes I've mentioned when I was younger, the one I wanted to see the most was Bulldog. I used to own the Rescues on the Railway VHS, and the very first song on it was Accidents Happen, and the scene on the mountain road with Falcon hanging on the edge and Duke pulling to keep him safe always stuck so much. I wanted to see the episode. I remember a few times with my Ertl trains, I used to remake this scene, and I did own both Sahandel and Duke, and I used some coaches, probably Annie and Clarabelle. Then one day, in a shop called Woolworths, I then came across the Season 4 DVD, and of course I bought it, and once I had it on, I went to the episode menu, and there was Bulldog, and straight away, that was the first episode I watched on that DVD. It was 2006 when I got it, so I was around 7. 7 years I've been around! And I saw this episode for the first time besides seeing it in a music video. And I still love it to this day, so much that it deserves a spot on my list. Number 6. Twin Trouble. Although Thomas the Jet Engine and the Pack episodes may have been better episodes in other people's opinions, to me, Twin Trouble was the best episode of Season 6. And why is that, you may ask? Well, if we go back to Seasons 2, 3 and 4, Donald and Douglas worked together very well, but they didn't have an episode falling out. But this episode gave the twins character development and did something new. People may find Love Me Tender better than this one, but I think Twin Trouble is a bit better. It was also part of my childhood, so I have a few memories of it, and it's still popular to me to this day. Number 5. Pop Goes the Diesel, Dirty Work, and a Close Shave. Yeah, I know I'm cheating again, but this is a 3-part episode, and that's one of the reasons why Season 2 is one of my favourite seasons, because it contains 3-part episodes. With Pop Goes the Diesel, we are introduced to a very popular character, that being Diesel, and we get an in-depth of what he is like, and he gets his comeuppance from his first impression. And how can you not enjoy the musical number by the Troublesome Trucks?
Trucks were laughing and singing at him. Trucks are waiting in the yard, packing them with diesel. Show the world what I can do, gaily boasts the Diesel. In and out he creeps about like a big black weasel. When he pulls the wrong trucks out, pop goes the Diesel.
That song is so catchy, it ends up getting stuck in my head. Dirty Work, we get to see more of Diesel's character, and we see how evil he is, not as evil as Diesel 10, and just makes the engines think Duck has betrayed them, when really he has been framed, as that was part of Diesel's revenge. That can happen in real life, people get accused for something that isn't their fault. Then we come to A Close Shave. Now, unlike the other two, A Close Shave is the number 1 episode I remember watching from my childhood. It was on 3 VHS tapes, so it was a very well known episode, and I remember this was the first episode I remember doing a remake with the audio and my Tommy trains when I was younger, and way before I joined YouTube. So, I didn't have a camera, I just used one of my VHS tapes, and I was just doing it for fun. I love these 3 episodes so much that they just deserve a spot on my top 20 list. Number 4. Thomas and the Trucks. This is a bit like Bulldog in some ways, but I wasn't eager to see it. I knew Thomas struggling up the hill was something, but I just overlooked it. Anyways, at the start of 2006, we went on a little holiday to a little cottage in Wales. And while there, we went into a town one day and I ended up picking the complete first season of Thomas. And when I was watching the DVD for the first time, I soon reached Thomas and the Trucks and wow, I enjoyed it very much. And from then on, whenever I put on my season 1 DVD, I always watched Thomas and the Trucks. Like Henry's theme in The Flying Kipper, they redid Thomas's theme and made it enjoyable. I love this theme tune when I think about the episode. It's just so jolly. It went into like a style from the intro into a runaway. That's just a bonus. I love this episode since day one and still do today. Number 3. The Diesel. This is by no doubt the most funniest episode ever of Thomas the Tank Engine. Bill and Ben, you two are funny. I mean, they're like Laurel and Hardy in the Thomas universe. Silly, quarreling a lot, and just full of fun and entertainment. Then we have the most funniest moment ever in Thomas history. Bill and Ben making silly faces and driving Boko up the wall. And the music makes it work so well. Although modern Thomas has a lot of laughs today, I bet if a little kid was watching this episode, he or she will be laughing their butts off. And this leads me to a memory with this episode. I didn't see this episode as much, but when I got to see the episode again on Nick Jr. Classics, one of my siblings just so happened to be in the same room as me, and when this scene came in, we were both laughing so hard because it was just so funny. So funny, I want to do a remake of it. Besides that, we are introduced to 3 new characters, Bill and Ben of course, and how can I forget Boko? He is just such a friendly diesel, and if there's one thing I would like if Boko was to come back, is to have some banter with Bill and Ben. So with that, I love the Diesel, and just so much it deserves a spot on my list. And remember, coughs and sneezels spread the seasons. Number 2. The Thomas Way. Yes, a CGI episode is in second place. This is another controversial episode, so why do I like it, you may ask? Now, does anyone remember Thomas and Scarlo's big day out and Stop That Bus? In those episodes, Thomas was shown his friends around instead of doing as he was told. But third time not so lucky, because this time he is working with another engine. And what other engine better than that is Duck. Duck is an engine who is very hardworking and does his tasks without dilly-dallying. These two have different ways on how they do things, and their debate makes them run into trouble. I remember when I first saw the plot for this episode, I was straight away excited for it. And me and one of my friends talk endlessly about it. And once the episode first arrived, I felt like my ears were playing tricks on me by saying Duck's real name. And I remember my reaction to the scene. My jaw dropped. And I felt like screaming like a little girl. So with that, I say in my opinion, The Thomas Way is the best CGI episode out there. And although a lot of episodes today are also amazing, sometimes, I will always stick to The Thomas Way. Now before I reveal my number 1, I'll show you the honourable mentions and a brief reason why I like them. Percy's Chocolate Crunch. This is my favourite Percy moment, and who doesn't want to see a train get covered in chocolate? And the crash here is my favourite crash ever, and it was yet another very popular episode from my childhood. Haunted Henry. Like Ghost Train, Haunted Henry has so much spookiness in it, and it just has you wondering what's causing all of it. The sets and scenery and music makes it feel terrifying as well. Percy and Harold. Not a big fan favourite, but people enjoy it because it's part of the classic era. We are introduced to another popular character today, that being Harold, and the music here once again is exclusive to this episode only. Duncan gets spooked. Out of all the narrow gauge episodes, this is the scariest. We get a full ghost story, a train dies on screen, and the music makes it haunting. Like Duncan the Humbug, the narrow gauge engines don't really get that many spooky stories. Blown away. We don't get episodes involving a storm today in Modern Thomas. It also gives Skiff some character development that he was lacking. And the music is Chris Renshaw's best. This episode had me blown away. Oh come on, that was a good one! Love Me Tender. It hadn't made the list, but it's got an honourable mention. This shows us about sibling rival, and it feels like Twin Trouble and the Deputation blended together. And Donald and Douglas's theme here is my favourite that Chris has composed music for a character. Tit for Tat, Mike's Whistle and Useful Railway. These three are put together not because they're a three-part episode, but because they all have something in common. These three are the only episodes for season 20 and so far to be adapted from the Railway series into the CGI series, and they stayed close to the stories from the books, and you know what they say, never overlook a little engine. Thomas the Babysitter. This episode shows what we deal with in everyday life. Wherever you are, on a bus, train, plane, in a town or shop, you'll witness babies crying, and Thomas helping a human, technically Albert's wife, was quite kind of him. Busy going backwards. Back to classic episodes now, and this is classic as it gets. It's nice to see Toad be in the spotlight in an episode. The music was epic and I love runaways. We also get to follow the runaway and all the close calls Toad has. It's just an episode filled with action. Oliver's find. Like Toad, it's nice to see Oliver be in the spotlight in an episode in season 5, and it was just a lovely story, and I love his theme tune in this episode. And now, I reveal to you what I think is the best episode of Thomas the Tank Engine. The #1 spot goes to... Escape! Yes, it was pretty obvious. Like Ghost Train, The Flying Kipper, Grandporth and Sleeping Beauty, this is yet another fan favourite by the fans. So why is Escape the #1 spot? Well, as you know, Douglas was close to being scrapped, and he understands it. And when he sees Oliver and finds out he is escaping, he knows that he was in the same shoes as he was. But did he chicken out? No, he was determined to save Oliver and Toad, and not let them face the Cutter's torch. He wasn't going to rest in one piece until they were saved. The scene at the beginning makes it understandable why Douglas doesn't like the talk about scrap. The episode, in my opinion, shows the lesson on not to give up and be there for someone when they are in danger, like Douglas being there for Oliver and Toad. And how can I not mention the episode without the music? The music is Mike and Junior's best piece of work. It is damn catchy. Now the ending is from Little Western. Although pretty dull, it fits into Escape with no trouble. If they did the two separate, think how boring it would be. The ending scene with the escape in one works much better in my opinion. This also relates to Rusty to the Rescue, but these episodes show steam locomotives being saved from scrap, making them these two exclusive to Thomas. Now how can I not mention this episode without the sets they used for the other railway? All they did was reuse other pieces from other sets, and I didn't even know that. I thought it was an actual set, but nope, Britt and David and the set team did a damn right job of doing it. So with that, Escape is my #1 episode of Thomas and Friends. It has action, it has outstanding music, and all that makes it my #1 spot on my top 20 list. So that was my top 20 episodes. Tell me what you think and let me know what your favourite episodes were. So with that, this is Mick Lenden saying goodbye.